What is up, guys? Obviously, here to talk about the four-game NBA slate. Give me 1 second. I'll tweet out the stream, and then we can jump into it. This one, I feel like it's panning out to be a pretty solid slate. The first game, like I've mentioned the first few times in this four-game slate, is key. It's the Toronto-Brooklyn game. Do you stack it and hope it stays close, or do you avoid it? I think either are viable, and I'll know how I'm doing after the first game, if I'm going to be in really good shape or if I'm going right to the late slate, because I am going right back to the wall here with the Brooklyn-Toronto game, hoping it stays close. But all right, if you guys are new to the channel, new to the live streams, what we're going to do, go over all the news we have so far. Not a lot of big news. We'll look at the Vegas odds, and then we can give a team. I'll give you guys a team-by-team breakdown, cash plays, GPP plays, and then answer any questions you guys have at the end. So Conley's playing. I think that automatically takes Donovan Mitchell and Jordan Clarkson. Just cross them out. Do not play those guys. Easy fades, in my opinion. RHJ, I believe, got ruled out. Not a big deal. He was playing like 5 minutes a game. Tyler Johnson is starting for Joe Harris. That was a piece of news I was waiting for. Brooklyn is already thin, and now they have no Joe Harris. So the value for Brooklyn is very, very much in play. I'll talk about that when I get to Brooklyn. But who else is going to score the ball besides Karis LeVert? Right? You have candidates, Tyler Johnson, TLC, Garrett Temple, Krug's off the bench. How are they going to score points? LeVert's not going to score 40, most likely. So that's where I'm looking to. I know the risk. The risk is this game, it's a good chance it blows out. Especially, I mean, Joe Harris was more just a spot-up shooter, but there's a real good chance it does blow out. So it's the key to the slate, for sure. Toronto, Brooklyn, again, it's 11.5 point spread, 219.5 over-under. We have Denver and Utah, 218.5 over-under. Denver 1 point favorites. Boston and Phillies, a 217 over-under. Boston 6 point favorites. Clippers, Mavs, a late night hammer here, 231.5 over-under. Clippers are 5 point favorites. So let's just do it. Let's start with Toronto. And we'll start with the big three here. So Lowry, Fred VanVleet, and Pascal Siakam. All priced under 8K. All in the best matchup on the slate here against Brooklyn. That play no defense. So yeah, I have interest in these Toronto guys. I like all three quite a bit. That last game, everyone was just not shooting the best, 104 to 99. I think that's going to go up. I think we're going to see more of like the first game, like a lot higher scoring game. And we also had Norman Powell shooting absolutely lights out. I don't think we get that again. So I think Siakam, Fred VanVleet, Lowry have to do a lot more. With Lowry and Fred VanVleet, this is a toss-up for me. I've been all over Fred VanVleet the first two slates. He has won me big money. This is where I'm hopping off. I'm going to Kyle Lowry for ownership. It's literally the exact same situation as last night with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I said, I'm going to AD. He's going to be way lower owned. People just look at the last recent game and just, if a guy had a big game, they're just going to be higher owned. So I went to AD, got him at less than half ownership as LeBron James. He went absolutely nuts. He was on pace for like 80 fancy points. Unfortunately, that game did blow out, but this is the exact same situation. I think both are identical plays. VanVleet has been better the first couple of games, so I have absolutely no issue if you go to Fred VanVleet over Kyle Lowry. They're literally identical plays. I'm just going to Kyle Lowry now. I prefer him because he's going to go lower owned. So they're literally identical. The exact same situation as the Lakers last night. I'm going to go to Lowry over Fred VanVleet for lower ownership. If you want to go to FVF, I have no issue with that. I just think his ownership will be inflated. So that's it. I love both those guys. I don't think I would play both together, but if the game stays close, I think one smashes for sure. So Pascal Siakam's now at 7-3. I did not think we would ever see him this cheap, especially in a type of matchup like this. We have not seen a big upside game from Pascal Siakam in a long time. We really haven't. We haven't seen it since he returned from the bubble. He's been like mid-30s fancy points almost every single slate. Is this the game he finally breaks out? It could be. He's going to be really low-owned, I think. The price point looks good. I have nothing really bad to say about any of the main Raptors. In a close game, all three of Lowry, Fred VanVleet, and Siakam will push for 40 minutes. Now the question of does it stay close? That's another question. I think there's a good chance it does blow out. All three I really do like. Ibaka's at 5-3. He's the guy that has more upside over Gasol right now, but the price point just makes it tricky to get to him. If he was like 4-5, then I would consider him for sure, but 5-3 kind of takes him out of play for me. Yeah, I'm not going to get to Gasol at 4K. I like other cheaper options at similar prices. And Gasol his ownership's going to drop. He actually was somewhat high owned that last slate. So can Gasol get you 20 to 25? Yeah, but I'm just not going to do it on this slate. With OG and Norman Powell, both are definitely in play for value. OG's your cash game play. I think he's not a guy that's going to shoot the ball a ton, but the minutes will be there. 34 and 36 minutes the first couple games. He's a guy that can get you blocks and steals. He can score the ball. He's not going to shoot the ball a ton, but I think he's your cash game play, whereas Norman Powell's more your GPP play off the bench. He only played 17 minutes the first game, then 32 the second. I think we get somewhere in between that. I think like 25-ish from Norman Powell. So I think he's fine off the bench. He's a good shooter. If his shot is falling, the upside is there. Someone asked me about Boucher with RHJ, like questionable. No, don't play Chris Boucher. He's not going to be in the rotation. All right, that's it for Toronto for me. So let's move on to Brooklyn. So I don't know what the ownership's going to be like on these guys. I don't. I know the risk. There's a really, really good chance this does not stay close. Already without all their guys, and now Joe Harris too. So Karis LeVert at 8.1K. I'm going right back to the well here. If the game stays close, it's going to be because of a massive game from LeVert. He shot the ball 5 of 22 last game and put up 44 fantasy points. If he has a half-decent shooting day, he goes for 60 plus. So I'm going right back to the well here. Not worried about the bad shooting performance. I think that bounces back a bit. I just absolutely love his upside. So yeah, it's a risky play. This whole game is risky. I think you can avoid this whole game. And that's why this first game is key. Because if it stays close, you're going to want pieces to this game. Obviously, if it blows out, you're good at the full fade. So this game's key. I am getting exposure to this game, so I'm hoping it stays close. I absolutely love LeVert if it does. I think his upside is through the roof. So really do like him. I have interest in Jared Allen. He played 41 minutes last game. It's not the best matchup. But if we get 40 minutes out of Allen at center, yeah, he's fine in the mid-range. Or I guess, yeah, more in the mid-range. It just makes it tricky. Well, I think I like the upside a bit more on LeVert for a little bit more. I think I like the upside on some of those Toronto guys a bit more. I think I like the upside on, maybe some of those Boston guys at similar prices, maybe a little bit more. So I have a lot of Brooklyn exposure right now. Jared Allen's not one of those guys just because I don't want to play like 5 guys from Brooklyn. But I like him. If it works with your roster construction, I have absolutely no issue. Now again, no Joe Harris. He was more of a spot-up shooter. Right? He's not a guy who was really going to create a shot a lot. So, but those 35-plus minutes have to go somewhere. That production has to go somewhere. So Temple, TLC, probably pick up a few extra minutes. They probably have to do a little bit more offensively too. I think both are certainly viable. Like 5-1 feels like a lot to pay for Temple, but I think he's fine. I think TLC is fine. I think TLC will pick up some ownership. He's been shooting the ball really well. I have absolutely no issue with either of these guys. And then Tyler Johnson at 4-2 I think looks really good because he's a guy that can create his own shot. Now, full disclosure, I do not have him in right now, and I'm worried about it. Just because there's a couple guard plays that I really, really like. I have Lowry, I have LeVert, I have Lou Williams. That's all the guards. I could play some in the utility, but that's not the way my roster construction is going. So I do not have Tyler Johnson, but I'm scared. I love his upside here if we get 30 minutes because he's a guy that can create his own shot. When LeVert's not out there, he's going to have the ball in his hands. So I think he's a really, really good value play. Just what works with your roster. Krug's at 3.8 is a viable punt. His minutes will probably go up. Like I would guess 25. He's going to be the lowest owned of the bunch. But that's really it. Like I'm not going to take a shot on Shioza. Maybe Justin Anderson gets in the rotation, but I don't think we have to do it on this slate. So really, just look at this Brooklyn team, right? Like, how are they going to score the ball? It's going to be LeVert and Jared Allen in the pick and roll, but who else is going to score? It's got to be Temple, TLC, and Tyler Johnson. They have no other options. Like, Kurucs will score a little bit off the bench, but they could run like a 7-man rotation here. They have nothing. So, sure, TLC, Garrett Temple, we're not getting them at huge discounts, but the minutes will be there if the game stays close. And it's just a shot I'm willing to take. I think this game has enormous upside if it does stay close. So, yeah, I like Brooklyn a lot here. I know the risk. I think for a cash game setting, maybe you avoid this slate. I'm not playing cash games today because this game means everything. Getting this game right. Either full fading it and hoping for the blowout, or getting a good amount of exposure to it because the upside is massive if it stays close. Let's move on to Denver and Utah. So this is probably my least favorite game to target right now. On the Denver side, Jokic is at 9-3. Definitely a viable contrarian spend up. I prefer Embiid for a little bit more of the center position. I prefer other spend ups. I prefer Tatum at a similar price. I prefer getting an extra $1,500 to Luka. So Jokic is a guy that I think just flies under the radar. I'm just not going to get to him, though. I know he's had good games against Gobert. The upside is there. He was on pace to really smash, then the game blew out. So I have absolutely no issue with Jokic. It's just you have to take stands somewhere, right? And I'm taking a stand in the first game, hoping it stays close, and then I'm getting exposure to the late game, where I'll mention a couple plays there. I really like Luka today. I think his upside at below 11K is just massive. So, Jokic is a guy I'm just not going to get to. I'm not getting to Jamal Murray either at 7K. Just prefer other guys at his price. Sure, the upside's there. He's very boom or bust. He kind of is a little bit scoring dependent for a point guard because Jokic has the ball in his hands a lot. So Jamal Murray's just not a guy I'm getting to. And I'm not getting to Michael Porter Jr. either at 6-7. It's just this game, I'm kind of fading it. I don't really like any of the Utah stars. I think they're all fine, but I like the upside in this first game more. I like the upside in this last game more. I think Philly-Boston has potential too if it stays close. Jeremy Grant at 4-5, I'll pass. Paul Millsap is completely washed. Do not play him. Monte Morris at 3-8 for value is viable, but not the way that I'm going to go. I like the upside a little bit more on other guys. I'm not getting to Torrey Craig. Do not do that. That's it. So Denver's a team I have zero exposure to, and I'm completely fine fading. If this game goes to overtime like it did the first game, then so be it. I lose. But this is a game that I'm just taking a stand on. I'm not getting to anyone. On the Utah side, it's basically the same thing. Mike Conley being back takes a huge hit to Jordan Clarkson. Just cross off Clarkson at 5-5. No way, no reason to get to him. There's no reason to get to Donovan Mitchell at 9-4. That is, if he goes out and continues to shoot this well, then so be it. No one's going to play him. If you want to get like a 5% owned guy in GPPs, fine, but there's just no way I can prioritize Donovan Mitchell. When I can get Luka Doncic for basically an extra $1,000, there's just no way I'm going to Donovan Mitchell. And Tatum for less, yeah. So I'm not getting to him. I'm not getting to Gobert. I'm not getting to Conley. Ingles is fine in the mid-range. I still think he plays 35 minutes, but not for me. Again, complete cross-off Clarkson. Last guy I'll mention is Royce O'Neal. I think he's my favorite play in Utah. His role is not going to change. Again, he's out there for his defense. He's still going to get 35 minutes, even with Mike Conley playing. So his role doesn't change a whole lot. He's a guy that will get you rebounds, can hit a 3 or 2. I think he's solid for value. I think he's like a cash game play. Now, the ownership will be up after the last game, right? 35 minutes, 37.5 fancy points. The ownership will just go up. We saw it with LeBron after the big game. His ownership was more than double than AD. I think Royce O'Neal is my favorite play in this game at 4.1K. So let's move on to Boston-Philly. I was super tilted the other day when that game blew out because the Boston guys were all low owned. Tatum, Brown, and Kemba were all like below 20% owned and were on pace to crush. Tatum was literally on pace for 60-plus fantasy points, and the game blew out. In 31 minutes, he went for 50.75 fantasy points. I think the upside is massive on Tatum. It's just you can't play all the studs, so I'm taking the approach of just hoping Brooklyn-Toronto stays close. If I was going to fade it, which I think is a certainly viable strategy, then I would probably get my exposure with these Boston guys. I really like these guys with no Gordon Hayward. All three are going to push for 35-plus minutes. All three get a huge boost. I like all three of the main guys a lot. I think they all look really, really good. Tatum's the guy that has the most upside. You're going to pay a premium for him. I think Jaylen Brown might fly a bit under the radar at 7-2. I have interest there, and I have interest in Kemba at 6-6. The game blew out last game. Kemba played 26 minutes last game. He went for 32.5 fantasy points. Imagine if he played 35 minutes, right? So all three Boston guys I really like if you can get to him. And if I was going to fade, if I was just going to cross up this game, which is certainly viable if the game blows out, then I would think I would get my exposure with Boston and Philly. Because this is a game I like the upside here. I'm a bit nervous that I only have one player in this game because I think the upside is there, especially with those top three guys in Boston. Tice at 4-3, no issue, or no interest there for me. Only played 12 minutes last game. That's not going to get it done. The guy that I have some interest in, and just be warned, it's Enes Kanter. Before game one, I went on a big rant in my videos. Like Kanter, I like him at min price. Like he's played a lot of minutes against Embiid this season. He's had upside games, and then they played him 8 minutes. They used a three-headed monster with him, Robert Williams, and Tice. Obviously, I don't mention him the last slate, and then Stevens gives him 22 minutes. He goes for 23.5 fantasy points. So how many minutes are we going to get out of Enes Kanter? I am already taking a risky approach to this slate, right? I told you guys I'm getting a lot of exposure to the first game, which is super risky. So I'm just flat out just risking it all. And I'm playing Cantor and hoping he gets the minutes at 3-7. He could get a DNP. I think there's an outside chance he just doesn't even play because Stevens hates Cantor. I think he could play anywhere from 5 to 25 minutes. So I'm already playing it risky. I'm already only playing GPPs. I'm just going full out risk. And I'm playing Cantor. I'm hoping he gets the minutes. I know Stevens hates him. He could play 5 minutes, and if he does, I lose. But I just like the upside if everything goes right and he gets 20-plus minutes against Joel Embiid. So it's a really risky play. Definitely not a cash game play. Like I would not consider Cantor for cash, but I'm getting there and hoping the minutes will be there. Everyone else, the value on Boston's a stay away. So I'm not going to Marcus Smart at 5-4. It's the big three there with Kemba, Brown, Tatum. If you want to take a shot with me and Cantor and hope the minutes are there, you can. He could literally play 5 minutes, though. So it's super, super risky play. Let's talk about Philly. Philly, Joel Embiid's the guy who played the first couple slates. First game was all right. Second game was on pace to crush, and then it blew out. The upside is massive on Joel Embiid. I'm not getting into him, though. I slightly prefer Luka Doncic for a little bit more. So, yes, I'm really scared of Joel Embiid here. I think he's going to play 40 minutes. This is a must-win game for Philadelphia. So, I think the upside is absolutely massive on Joel Embiid. It's just I can't play everyone on the slate, right? I can't play all the studs. So Embiid's like the stud that I am the most scared about fading because I think he could go for 70+. I really like him if you get to him. Again, if I was going to go with the approach of fade the first game, I think what I would do was get Luka in, get Joel Embiid in, and get one of those Boston guys in. That's how I would approach it. I think that's your safe way to approach this slate is go Luka, go Embiid, and go one of the Boston guys and just fade the first game. Because the blowout risk is real. So yeah, I love Embiid. I'm really, really scared about fading him today. Tobias Harris, it's just a contrarian play. He has to be the number 2 in this offense if they want any chance to win, and he's just not really shown it. When shooting the ball well, though, the upside is there for sure. Right? He has 50 fantasy point upside, but it's just a contrarian play right now. Paulie B with a $5 super chat. Let's get it, buddy. Michigan love you, man. Thank you, man. Really, really do appreciate you coming in and hitting me with those super chats. We are currently at almost 350 viewers, guys. If you like the content, if you like the live stream, the videos, just hit that like button and hit the subscribe button. It's the easiest way to support me. Trying to hit 5K by the end of the month. Yeah, Tobias, again, just a contrarian play. Absolutely not getting to Al Horford at 6'2". Alec Burks, I mean, Brett Brown, I don't know what the hell he's doing. Only played 16 minutes after he played really well the first game. Just a dart throw and just hope the minutes will be there. I'm not getting to Milton. Josh Richardson intrigues me at 4'8". I think he might be someone that flies a little bit under the radar. He's going to play 35 minutes if this game stays close. So I have a little bit of interest in Jay Rich. I think it's Embiid and Jay Rich for me, and that's about it on Philly. I made the mistake of going to Thibault that last series. I'm not doing it again. Don't play Raul Neto. If you want like a 0.1% owned play, Mike Scott, maybe Boston. He hasn't got the minutes the first couple games. Maybe he gets some minutes this game. You never know. Like, if I knew Mike Scott was going to play 20 minutes, I would like him, but you just can't. After seeing the first couple games, you just can't do it. Jake Anderson with a $5 super chat as well. Holy Toledo, almost forgot. Thank you for hitting me up with that each and every day. You are the man. All right, so that's it for my Philly breakdown. Let's finally talk about the Clippers and Dallas. So, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, 9-6 and 8-3. I think both are solid plays. Kawhi's had 50 in back-to-back games. The matchup's great. Paul George is a little bit cheaper. He struggled shooting the last game. I think both guys are solid. Am I going to get to either of the Clippers studs? I am not. I like the value a little bit more with the Clippers. So I just like the upside a little bit more with Luka. Again, I told you guys where I'm going. I'm taking the risk in Toronto, Brooklyn, and just hoping it stays close. So Kawhi and Paul George, I really don't have an issue. I think both are solid plays. Connor Jones with the $5 super chat as well. Ready to roll. Show DK some love. Thank you, guys. Thank you for all the super chats. But yeah, Kawhi, Paul George are solid plays. It's just you got to take a stand somewhere. So no issue if you guys get to them. Just not going to be the way that I go. Lou Williams is the guy that I'm looking at here at 5'6". The minutes, 31 and 32 minutes for him. We do have Pat Beverly doubtful. Lou will run the point a bit more. I just like his upside quite a bit here. Sure, he shot the ball well, 8 of 13. Don't know if we can expect that again, but in the regular season, Lou Williams is only playing 25 minutes. If we're going to get 32 on a night-to-night basis at 5'6", like Lou's the guy for me on the Clippers. So I really do like Lou coming off the bench. Marcus Morris is fine at 5K. I think he's a solid option. I just like the upside a bit more with Lou Williams, obviously. Ivica Zubac, the minutes are now finally going down on him, only 18 the last game, so I'm not going to do it. The guy I kind of like here is Montrezl Harrell, 4.1K. Now, I don't think anyone's going to get to this guy. If you look at just those first couple games, 15 minutes, 8 fantasy points, 22 minutes, 11 fantasy points. Not great. Are we going to get the Montrezl Harrell of old, a guy that comes out the bench, plays 25-ish minutes, and crushes? Against Denver, 20 minutes, 44 fantasy points. Right? Against Houston, 22 minutes, 36 fantasy points. This guy has that upside. And if we're going to get the minutes are slowly going up on him. If we get 25 minutes out of Montrezl Harrell at 4.1K, I like him quite a bit. I think he goes under the radar just because people are going to focus on those first couple games, see that he didn't do a whole lot, and just avoid him. But we're getting him at a playable price now, 4.1K. So I think he's a riskier option because we haven't seen the big game yet. But I think it's there with Montrez. If we get 25 minutes at 4.1K in the highest over-under of the day, I like him. The last guy I'll mention is Reggie Jackson. He's a viable punt for sure, 3.5K. No Pat Beverly, or he's doubtful. We're probably going to get 20 to 25-ish minutes from Reggie Jackson. The issue is he's just playing with so many high-usage guys, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell, that it makes him a little bit riskier. I think he's fine, but maybe not my favorite value play. Probably someone I'll look to in the late slate to open up for me to get those studs in my lineup. And then finally, Dallas. So Dallas, Luka was a guy that was in foul trouble the last game, only played 28 minutes. If he stays out of foul trouble, we're going to get 38 minutes out of Luka Doncic. Now, in 28 minutes, he went for 50 fantasy points. Imagine if he gets 38 minutes. I think he could easily go for 70 in this matchup, even in a tougher spot, right? I know Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, good defenders, but I just think the upside is there with Luka. So I'm slightly giving the edge to him over Joel Embiid. I'm told you guys full out, I'm really scared about fading Embiid because I think the upside is massive, but I think I slightly prefer Luka right now at 10.8. So he's my spend up I'm prioritizing right now. Kristaps Porzingis is at 8.5. It's just more of a contrarian play. He can definitely go for 50 plus, but the gap is not big enough with him and Luka price wise for me to get to Porzingis. If it was like a 3K discount, then I think I would it would be in consideration. But it's basically only $2,000 difference between those guys, and the upside is just Luka has the ball in his hands basically the whole game. So I got to give the edge there to Luka. I'm not getting to THJ at 5.2, 2-score independent. DFS and Kleber, I think these guys are solid value plays. Like, they're going to get the minutes. I think they're fine at 3.9 and we're at DFS at 4.2. I think they're very similar plays to a guy like Royce O'Neal. I might slightly give the edge to Royce O'Neal over those guys, but all three are similar. All three are more out there for their defense. But if they're going to get the minutes, I think they're fine value options. Seth Curry may be a little bit more of a risky option because the minutes a little bit up and down. 33 in the first game, only 26 the last game. He's got to hit his threes, so he's a riskier option, but if he's knocking down the threes, he's a good shooter. He can definitely go for like 25 plus fantasy points. I'm not going to get to Trey Burke, even though he had a solid game. Only 20 and 18 minutes. It's not enough for me to consider him. DeLon Wright, the minutes aren't there either. Last guy I will mention is Boban at 3.4. We're not going to get 10 minutes and 25 fantasy points out of him again, but if we're going to expect like 12-ish, 10 to 12-ish minutes from Boban a night, he's a viable punt. Like, he can get 15 to 20 fantasy points in that time. It's risky because I still think there's a chance he doesn't play, like, depending on how the game goes. So we'll see. Yeah, really, I put him in, basically, him and Cantor are like the same for me. Both are risky, cheap options, but if everything goes right for those guys, if Boban gets 12, maybe 12-plus minutes, and Cantor gets 20-plus minutes, they could crush. It's just the minutes are more in question for them. So that's it for me, guys. That's the breakdown. Let me check Fantasy Lab, see if we got any more news, and then we'll get to questions. Let's see. Yeah, nothing else. That's everything we got. As far as core guys, I think, I told you guys where I'm going, so I'm going Toronto, Brooklyn. I think maybe a safe approach is to fade that game and go with Embiid, Luka, and one of those Boston guys. So not going to really give a core here when I'm just going I'm going super, super risky on this slate. All right, let's get to some questions here. Garrett Temple or OG Anunoby? That's a tough one. I will give the edge slightly to Garrett Temple, even though it kind of feels gross for me to prefer Temple over OG. It's just the way that I'm going. I hope the Brooklyn guys step up and keep it close. Boban or Tony Bradley, it's going to be Boban there. My main lineup is Fred VanVleet, LeVert, Powell, Kleber, Embiid, Walker, Royce, and Lou Williams. That looks solid to me. Tyler Johnson and Lou Will or Seth Curry and Conley. It's going to be Tyler Johnson and Lou Williams for me. IDK, if I can pick between Harrell and Morris, it's a tough one. I think Morris will definitely be higher owned. I kind of give the edge to Harrell. Yeah, core. Again, it's going to be it's. I can't give it really today because it's just so risky. If you want my core for my GPP lineup, which that's what I'm doing, it's Lowry, it's LeVert, it's Luka, and who else do I want to give? And Lou Williams. That's the way that I'm going, and I'm going value with the Nets. I'm going Cantor. That's how I'm approaching the slate. If you had to choose between Boban and Cantor, I'll go Cantor, but both are identical. The minutes are very much in question. Lowry, LeVert, Luka, TLC, Harrell, Lou Will, Richardson, O'Neal. Yeah, that's pretty similar to mine. Fred VanVleet, LeVert. It's going a little faster. Harrell or Morris? I'll give the edge to Harrell for the discount. Who do you prefer between Kemba and Jalen? Probably Kemba, but it's close just because point guards have slightly higher floor. Lowry and GPP? Yeah, I'm playing Kyle Lowry. Him and Fred VanVleet are identical plays to me. Fred VanVleet's going to be higher owned in the first couple games, so I'm going Kyle Lowry. OG or Tyler Johnson? I will go Tyler Johnson there. Paul George, I'm not getting to him just because I'm playing Luka, and I'm playing Kyle Lowry, and I'm playing Karis LeVert. Richardson or TLC? I'll go TLC there. I'm just hoping Brooklyn keeps it close. Anyone on Crooks? Crooks is a fine play off the bench. I'm not getting to him, but I get it. Lowry, LeVert, Doncic, TLC, Harrell, Lou Will, J. Rich, Tyler Johnson. Thoughts? Yeah, very, very close to the lineup I'm going with. Full disclosure, though, if you are playing cash games, like this is probably a game that I would avoid. Maybe get to like one of those Brooklyn cheap guys, but there's a really, really good chance. So know the risk. If you're playing cash games, I don't know if I would target this first game. I'm playing GPP, so I'm doing it. I'm just going full risk. I'm playing Cantor too. Let's see. Playing Temple, Allen, and TLC. Okay to you, man. Go blue. Yes, go blue. And yes, that's completely fine with me. I have 3 Brooklyn guys in my lineup. Second line I'm considering Fred VanVleet, LeVert, Luka, TLC, Harrell, Lou Will, Temple, and Royce. Yeah. Again, that's basically my lineup there. Cantor season. He could play 5 minutes. He could play 20 plus. If Brad Stevens doesn't give him the minutes, then I lose. But I'm willing to take the risk in GPPs. Luka and Boban are Kawhi and TLC. I got to go Kawhi and TLC there just because I just feel more confident with the minutes, even though I would prefer Luka to Kawhi. Luka, LeVert, TLC, Cantor, Josh Richardson, Kleber, and Embiid. Yep, looks good to me. Fred VanVleet, LeVert, Porter, Tatum, Harrell, Lou, Royce, TLC. Fine with it. I'm not getting to Michael Porter Jr., but I think he's okay. Lowry, LeVert, Luka, Royce, Montrez, Lou Will, Temple, and Powell. Yep, really, really close to the way that I'm going about it. Seth Curry's fine. Lowry, LeVert, Luka, TLC, Harrell, Lou Will, Josh Richardson, Tyler Johnson for GPP. Again, that's basically my approach right now. TLC or OG, I'll give the edge to TLC. Chioza and Cash, do not do that. Why are you off Conley so much? I'm not really off Mike Conley. I think Mike Conley's solid. It's just I don't like. It makes it difficult for me to get to him at like 6K. He's probably a guy that gets 34 minutes, probably gets 30 to 35 fancy points. So I'm completely fine with it. It's just not the way that I'm doing. Thought I liked you, DK, until I found out you're a Michigan fan. Oh, JK. Yep, I'm a big Michigan fan. I got my Michigan shirt on, actually. Allen Lowe in center. Yeah, I mentioned Jared Allen. If he plays 40 minutes again, yeah. What's a good 3-team stack tonight? It kind of depends. I don't know. Tim Hardaway Jr. thoughts? I'm not doing it. It's Luka for me at the top, and then maybe one of those value guys with a Kleber, DFS, or Seth Curry. Conley just had a baby bro. This man going for 50. I'm fine if you get to Mike Conley. I think he's solid. Royce O'Neal or Morris. I'll give the edge to Royce for the discount because Morris is 5K, Royce O'Neal is 4-1. So I'll give the edge to Royce O'Neal for the discount. Banking on the Tatum versus Embiid show. Yeah. So again, if I was not getting exposure to the first game, if I was going the fade approach and probably the safe approach, then I would go one of those Boston guys. I would go Joel Embiid. I would go Luka Doncic. That's how I would start my lineup. Jeremy Grant or Morris. Go Morris there, I guess. Jackson, TJ, O'Neal, Kleber, Jokic, Doncic, TLC, and Kawhi. Yeah, Jokic will be low owned. I'm kind of full fading that second game. Fred VanVleet, LeVert, O'Neal, Tatum, Allen, Tyler Johnson, TLC, Morris Sr. sound good. GPP. Yeah, for GPP, that's fine. Right, you're taking the same approach as me and hoping Brooklyn keeps it close. We'll see how it goes. Reggie Jackson, Lowry, Luka, LeVert, Jaylen Brown, Reggie, Lowry, Luka, LeVert, Jaylen Brown, Tatum, O'Neal, Cantor, Conley, Kemba, Lou Will, Fred VanVleet. That's a little bit too much. Conley, Kemba, Lou, Fred VanVleet, Brown, Temple, Tatum, Marks. Yeah, I think that's okay. Go Big Blue Kentucky. Yeah, TLC 71% in my single entry. I'm playing him just because the guys I played in the first game are Lowry, TLC, Temple, and LeVert. I know like Lowry and TLC and Temple feel a bit overpriced, but the way my roster construction was going, I was going to play one of the Brooklyn guards, or I was going to play LeVert. I was going to play one of the Toronto guards. I went Lowry, and then I was playing Lou Williams. I just didn't have another spot to get Tyler Johnson in. Yeah, TLC 77% owned. This is in the $100 tournament. Garrett Temple 16%. I know he was a little bit overpriced. I'm just hoping Brooklyn keeps it close here. LeVert at 35%, Lowry at 14%. So I'm curious to see what Fred VanVleet's ownership is. Tyler Johnson 43% owned. So yeah, I'm scared of fading that, right? He was the guy that I liked the most. It's just I couldn't get to him because I wanted to play. I didn't have enough room for guards. Norman Powell 47% owned. People are taking the risk there. I don't think we get Norman Powell shooting 11 of 17 again. I liked Powell for GPPs, but for him to be 47% owned surprised me a little bit. Ibaka 1%, Fred VanVleet 20%. So not as high as I thought. I thought Fred VanVleet might be like double the Lowry. Fred VanVleet's 20, Lowry's 15. The chalk is TLC. TLC and Tyler Johnson and Norman Powell are the chalk. We'll see how it goes. Trying to find anyone else. Chioza. People played Chioza. He's 5%. I think that was a little bit too risky for me to do. Jared Allen's 26%. Siakam's 10%. So there are people that are stacking this game. Like I'm scrolling through lineups. I'm seeing people either stacking the game or avoiding it. And I went with a stack approach. If the game blows out, then I'm going to the late slate. That's how I'm going about it. Fred at 21% in the $20. Yeah, I mean, I like Fred VanVleet at that ownership. Know that it means too much, but Osmo guys, we're not confident at all in Tyler Johnson. Yeah, I didn't get to Tyler Johnson, but I'm a little bit worried. I mean, he's high owned in the tournament I'm in. He's going to play the minutes. He's a guy that can create his own shot. When LeVert's not out there, it's going to be Tyler Johnson with the ball in his hand. One guy stacked everyone in the first game. Yeah, there's a lot of, again, I scrolled through the lineups. There's either stacks or fades. So this game is clearly the key to the slate. All right, I'm going to need TLC to have a repeat of yesterday. Yeah. Jokic or Tatum in utility. I prefer Jason Tatum. Powell's a chase, I think. I wouldn't have gone 45% on the Norman Powell. I feel like it's chasing a little bit, but if he gets 30 minutes at 4-3 in this type of matchup, he can for sure go get people there. So it might be chasing a little bit. I don't think he shoots that well again. We'll see. Fred VanVleet 33%. Thanks DK, of course. Fred, LeVert, TLC, Siakam, Embiid, Powell, Royce, and Tyler Johnson. Yeah, so you want full game stack there, basically. Fine with me. I'm hoping Lowry's on him and just makes TJ's day horrible. We'll see how it goes. I got to get out of here, though, guys. I appreciate everyone coming to check out the live stream. We hit close to 350 viewers, which is crazy. Tobias, I'm not getting to him on this slate. More just a contrarian option. Good luck, guys, and I will see you all later.